TIFU by kissing my teacher. Sigh. I feel like I need to tell this story even if I end up deleting it later on, and pray it never ever gets traced back to me. P.S. This was a long time ago. I, f. 16 at time of story. Literally fell for my history teacher. 24 time of story. I know it sounds crazy. How the hell did this happen? Well, for context, he was a young teacher. I was 16 and he was 24. Usually teachers are old. And I was maturing to the point where I was starting to gain interest in boys. I never caught any interest from boys, though. I was considered ugly by boys my age no matter how often I lowered my high standards. Nobody ever gave me a second glance. But from the first day of class, my teacher did. Looking back, he was genuinely just a nice guy. But at the time, it felt like he liked me too. We took a field trip to a museum, where I was assigned him as a chaperone, and we were able to walk in a group and chat and etc. We got to a section of the museum that was particularly closed off for our class for the day. It was confusing to me, and still is, but it was comparable to a cave system. Only 2 people were allowed in at a time due to the size of it. And it would be incredibly dark. No valuables allowed in. No phones, watches, etc. for the sake of the place not being held accountable for these items being broken or lost inside. Also, due to the size, you had to army crawl next to your partner. We were told to partner up, and had an uneven amount of people. Due to me not being popular, nobody chose me. My teacher decided to volunteer to come in with me because it sounded fun. So, finally, we are inside. It is pitch black. We are navigating our way. There are a few glow-in-the-dark arrows pointing you where to go due to the fact that there's a lot of routes. However, we must have somehow taken a wrong turn because we were suddenly without any arrows, and I was begging to become uncomfortable with the tight spaces, and I said, "I think we have to turn around." He replied, "Yeah, probably for the best," so the only option was for me to go a bit ahead, find a crevice and turn myself around with him following so that we can get back en route. It's so hard to put into words that that's all I've got. So, I did. But when I turned around, I must have been too close, or he inched up worried about losing track of me. But we bumped heads. I quickly apologized and reached out, and he did the same. Then, everything went silent. All I could hear was our heavy breathing. We were face to face, and my young self thought, "Fuck it," and fucking kissed him. I myself quickly stopped. I shouldn't say kissed, but it was like a peck. But to this day I can recall the feeling of his beard against my face. Instead of waiting for him to turn around, I went ahead on my own, found the exit, and left. He wasn't too far behind me, as I could hear him crawling occasionally, but neither of us spoke. When we left the cave, we acted like normal, talked about how cool it was to everyone who didn't go in, but didn't speak of it to each other. I was so ashamed that I came to a self-consensus to never tell anyone. I initiated it. I was the one who did it. He didn't necessarily reciprocate, but also never said anything against it afterwards. But he was an amazing teacher and a genuine person, and I wouldn't let it get out that it ever happened. Well, a few years went by. It was my senior year, and I was attending a soccer game in support of a friend when he and his wife. Oh, did I not mention he was married? Yeah, I know. The subreddit is literally, "I fucked up." Came and sat behind me. She loudly and obviously made sure to mention something concerning a cave. I mean, she literally, which may I mention had nothing to do with the conversation they were having, asked a coworker sitting with them if she had ever been inside a cave. The coworker comments back, "What? No. I was talking about going skydiving." Which isn't what she said back. But that's how unrelated the conversation was to caves. So, yeah. It's been years and I haven't seen him, spoken to him, anything in a long time. But I will never ever forget that day. TLDR, while on a field trip I entered a dark cave and kissed my history teacher. Wow. I got secondhand embarrassment from this, but hey, you were just a child back then and you can't blame your current self for that. I am curious what he thought at that moment though. Lol. His wife is hilarious. Him and his wife's communication is outstanding. Guess you could say, you guys have history. I find it hilarious that she went out of her way to talk about caves right next to you. He didn't necessarily reciprocate, but also never anything against it afterwards. Quote, nah, we aren't gonna do this, come on now. That's all on you. The man was probably scared. Pretty much this entire story is overshadowed by my claustrophobia. Just trying to imagine Army crawling through a tunnel and getting stuck in the dark. What the hell? So, we were thinking this year of a maybe vacationing in a cave. I don't know why. It'd be nice to spend some alone with my husband. Might even kiss. And write sweet nothings on the wall. Like, why did you kiss my husband? Jennifer? Why? How about you, friend? Any plans? Quote, sorry for laughing. I just found the idea of his wife bringing it up like this pretty funny. Must have been a scary thing for the teacher. At the time. Is hilarious. Waiting on the part where you literally fell. Abba has entered the chat. I still embarrassed my 14-years-old self, used to chased after young handsome and single, of course, male teacher who was 26 at the time. But at least I didn't kiss him. I just stalked him around and became his teacher's pet so he could praise me a lot, so another girls from the same class envy me. So many girls had crushed on him, you know. He was really only good-looking teacher in public school. Now I am 27. I still want to bury my 14 self so much. Oh, I even wrote novel about him and we had happy ending. I want to die. I need to confess on my own post. Rip that man's life. Not for nothing, but skydiving and caves can be related conversation. https u2.be/okpuanums. Also, cave diving is exploring underwater caves. I don't know if this will quell your embarrassment, but it is possible that the topic was just a crazy coincidence. Press X to doubt. Random guess. Was the place you were at the Liberty Science Center in New Jersey and the exhibit the Touch Tunnel? I only ask because the way you described it sounds like that, and it was a popular place for field trips growing up. But it wasn't explicitly a cave. Just a pitch-black tunnel that requires you to crawl. Could be totally off the mark. Must not have been in America, or the guy would have been put in prison for 10 years and added to a list. No questions asked. I think this song is appropriate. I spent a day at the museum and all I got was this cripplingly embarrassing story. Update. I will be posting more shorty on what happened in between the kiss and his wife's comments at the soccer game. Please bear in mind this is a 2 to 3 year long gap. So give me some time.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.